Hello, and welcome to Over the Cushion. What's going on, everybody? For Rip the Lip, I'm Ron Thoman. This is Kyle Hervey, and you're watching Over the Cushion, powered by MCM Contracting, serving in Lehigh Valley for 33 years. Owned and operated by Mark Daniels. The show is all about dirt racing, covering some news, current events, and talking to all sorts of different drivers. Huge thanks to our other sponsors like Bodie Marks Racing, the Shop Automotive Detailing, or the shopdetails.com, DH Graphics, and Protect Roofing. So I really appreciate everybody's support. Let me get Kyle in here, and we'll just start chatting away here. Kyle, you got me?
I got you, Ron.
What's going on, man? How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Not too bad. Just, another week in cold Pennsylvania. And now we got a bunch of snow, so that's that's super fun.
No snow here in Jersey yet.
Nothing?
Should still be out racing.
Gosh, I think we got like 4 inches, I think.
Jeez.
Over by Hamlin Speedway.
Jeez,
Upper
man.
elevations, a little bit more snow, a little colder.
No, it's just been a very wet week. I did slip on ice yesterday, so it is officially, the holiday season. So, stay
Yep.
safe out there.
I slipped today, man. I just tumbled. I took a tumble.
I was walking through a parking lot and went to walk up to a door, and something must have been dripping off the roof, and there was maybe a 6-inch by 6-inch puddle, and I just stepped right on it without thinking about it and slipped, and I'm just like, oh no. Everything else was dry.
Oh my gosh, that sucks. Well, glad you're okay. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Even if you broke your leg, it didn't matter because you'd still be on the podcast. You can always talk with a broken leg, but you can't race. And there's some racing coming up pretty soon here, right?
We're getting there. I looked at the TQ this weekend and thought, yeah, I need to do stuff to that.
Yeah, let me that race car.
Trying to get some parts and tires and everything together to start making the transition over to an indoor car for that.
You
It's a little bit easier.
Are you taking the slingshot or no?
No.
Okay.
It is a little bit easier to transition the TQ from outdoor to indoor than it was the slingshot. The slingshot was a solid month-long process of changing stuff over to make it an
bet
indoor
it's
car.
a dirt car that's going to asphalt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
wait,
definitely.
how many? What races do we got coming up? As far as I know, there's one in January near our
So
birthday.
as far as like our area for indoor stuff, we will have PPL Center January 6th and 7th, and then Atlantic City is the end of January. I don't remember the dates. It'll be the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, last weekend in January, and then sometime in February is Trenton Indoor Dirt. Other indoor stuff that is going to be happening shortly. There will be well, obviously the Tulsa shootout. I know people just started shipping out their cars. I saw pictures today was the first, I believe today or yesterday was the first day of starting to build the Chili Bowl track and the Expo Center down in Tulsa.
Nice.
So we have shootout and Tom drawing a blank. Chili Bowl coming up. The Rumble in Fort Wayne is also coming up.
Very nice.
I think that's the week of Christmas, but I could be wrong. I do not know if that's being live streamed somewhere. I'm sure it is. I just don't know where.
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere. But yeah, I forgot those bigger 600s. I guess that's mainly 600s, right? The shootout.
Rumble?
The shootout.
Tulsa shootout. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else they have. I didn't see a lineup yet, but it's primarily focused on the 600s. They do have the restricted 600s, and they do
the Outlaws there too, right?
Well, yeah. So there's the four main classes. There's A class winged and wingless, and then there's Outlaw winged and wingless, and then they have like the support divisions sort of that are restricted 600. I thought they had the junior sprints as well one day, and then at some point they had 600 mods, I think, but I don't remember them putting on a very good show. I don't know if they have those other 3 classes this year or not.
I think if they just stick to the other ones, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of entries regardless, but just sticking to a simpler, more straightforward lineup is probably better.
It's definitely cool for the younger kids in the mini sprints or whatever, and the restricted to race. They don't obviously put on a terribly entertaining show, but their interviews and getting to see them come up through the ranks and knowing that they'll be racing there in like A class or Outlaw in the next couple of years is always cool to see who is on the move.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see. I mean, I hope we see Kyle Busch there with his son. I know his son's starting to move up a little bit to get into the bigger cars.
And Kyle Larson or like Keelan Harvick.
Oh yeah, I forgot. And then Kyle Larson's daughter just got a
Clint Boyer's kid, Cash. I don't know if Cash has been racing or not, but yeah, it'll be fun to watch. Because I see a lot of those guys are going the dirt route. I think I don't know if Keelan Harvick has raced any dirt. I saw he wrecked a road course Legends car the other day. It looked like.
Oh really? I mean, I know he raced. I thought he raced against Bush's kid, but I think that was.
He might have. They probably had.
That's probably Boyers or something. Yeah, something like that.
I don't know if Cash has been racing. I'm just assuming that Cash Boyer is racing, but I don't know honestly. But
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a toss up. There's no real behind the scenes. At least Kyle Busch, he has like somebody, doing some filming and editing, which is kind of cool. It's I mean, at their level, it's really not hard to like just hire some dude that wants to travel with them. And all their job is
you should go down there and just be a agent for all of the NASCAR drivers' kids.
Bro, that would be so sick. But like I have like a wife and 3 kids. now we just got a dog, so like I can't Charlotte's leave.
Beautiful this time of year.
Oh, I bet it is, man. If I make enough money, I might as well just move down there. I'd just be like, I'll follow you Monday, I'll follow you Tuesday, I'll follow you Thursday. At least get one day off. All right, so today we are joined by James Benz. He's an all-star slingshot driver out of the Northeast. He is a 3-time Snydersville track champion. He won this year's Thunder at the Ville 1K to Win race and has over 45 slingshot wins. James, thank you for coming on the show.
I'm always happy to help out and always happy to be here.
Oh, I forgot he was the grid man for Hamlin this year, so got to add that to the list of notables. Yeah. He kept the show running.
Yeah.
Always
managing the chaos of getting everybody lined up when they just want to go wherever they want to go.
No, trust me. I tried. They don't listen.
They don't line up either. Nobody wants to race there. They just don't line up.
Yeah, everybody wants to race. You can't get them to slow down when they're going on the track.
True. I mean, I've heard you a couple
times.
Get them
to line up. Forget it.
Well, I've heard you a couple of times like, this is your last warning. If you want to race, get here in line. Like, it's like, what are you guys doing?
Well, the biggest snafu with that is it's not really. Oh, hold on. Yeah, sorry. What it is the. Oh wow! Why I'm blanking all of a sudden.
The biggest snafu.
When people, when their cars break, they don't come up and tell me that they're not going to make the race.
Yeah.
So they just assume that I'm above everybody, and I know exactly what's going on at every corner of the pit area at once.
Race car drivers thinking everything revolves around them. Shocking.
Whoa.
I know, right?
That's crazy. Yeah, I just I don't sometimes I understand like your car breaks, but I still get like either A, not telling you, or B, just being lackadaisical in the pits and not like lining up for your feature. Because like I know when I'm strapped in, I'm like my worst fear in the world is to like be late for lineup or like not go up to line and then or go up there late and then they're already like on the track or something and then I can't race. That's just like I've had nightmares. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was always scared of that. That's why when I worked and raced the Hamlin Firecracker 100, that was very exciting. Sadly, we didn't make it too far in that one.
But you raced and worked the track?
Yeah, the guy they got to cover grid never showed up. So they had me because Jude, designated flagman at the Hamlin Speedway, decided that he really needed my help. So I told him I'll help you as long as I can. Luckily, my dad towed the car up, so I had someone to work on it while I was working the grid.
Oh no!
And so nobody wanted to work, guys, and they're all like, "Hey, sorry, I don't feel like I can do it. I'm scared. This, that, and the other thing." It wasn't terrible. It was mainly just a lot of rushing around because I have to run the I have to then run back. I have to get my race suit on, make sure the car is all set up, ready to go. Tell my dad what I want him to do to it. Run to the grid, get everybody lined up, send them out there. Run back, get in the well, actually, my dad after warm-ups brought the car. He'd work on the car and then bring it up to the grid, and we'd park it behind the garbage
little trailer, yeah.
Yeah, the little trailer.
Be like, it's there,
And
it's ready to go.
I'd be going, and I'd call all-star slingshots. I'd hand the microphone to the quad guy, and I'd run to my car, go out for the heat, tell my dad what he needs to do, and run back up. It was really exciting when I featured time, and nobody was in the grid for features.
Not at all.
Because I gave the microphone to Danny V. He tried his best, but no one could hear him over the engines. My voice, I guess, carries better than most.
Well, that's why they picked you, I guess. Oh my gosh, that's nuts, man. That's nuts. I mean, that
I was
sucks.
supposed to run a 600 up there this year, but I ended up working with, and I didn't want to ditch Randy to go run a 600. I should. I eventually he ended up, yeah. No, I have absolutely nothing against Randy. He was very nice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hey, if you're walking around with your wireless headset, are you walking around?
No, I'm not. The thing is I don't know why it just disconnects. I was trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to stay close to the wireless thing and praying it doesn't cut out.
Oh, just a little bit. Not terrible actually.
I'm watching my green outline on Discord, and when it disappears, I just stop what I'm talking about and restart and pray that it fixes it.
Okay, that makes it way more sense. I was like, man, he's not skipping a beat. He just keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just trying.
So, like, where did this racing all start for you? Like, are you, like, the first ones in your family to start racing, or did you have family that started it?
Back in the day, Flemington Speedway, my grandfather ran a late model, the number 35, I think it was. He ran that for a few years, and my dad was about my age, from when he was in preteen to late teens. And then eventually, my dad got into it. He got into it in the Enduro division at Flemington Speedway. He ran the last race at Flemington on dirt, and then he ran asphalt at Flemington in the Enduro until Flemington eventually closed. He then moved on to outlaw stock or hobby stock at Bridgeport on the 5/8 mile, and I think Orange County.
Oh, like a factory stock?
Yeah, factory stock.
Yeah.
And he ran that for a while, and then eventually I came around and ruined all that, so he ended up having to retire. And now it's me and Charlene carrying it on, so.
Yeah, so how did that come, like, I guess how'd you pick slingshots? It was the most affordable at the time, or was it just, you didn't really want to run the factory stock? I mean, I have a factory stock as well that need some TLC, but, I thought that was super fun to run when I did run it, like, 18 years ago when I ran it when I was in high school, but, why not stick to the bigger cars and then go to this instead of going to the smaller car?
Well, I have Adam Bouchel to thank for that one. He actually, I went to school with him, and I found out he was racing. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. He was running quarter midgets up at Blue Mountain Raceway. And what happened was I went to go watch one of the races, and I ended up wanting to get into it. So me and my sister went to the driver training program that they had there to test out a quarter midget. We decided we wanted to do it, so my dad bought 2 quarter midgets, and we started out in them. Ran them for a few years. I had my first flip down at the Harrisburg Farm Show. Almost took out everybody in the hot chute and half the pits. Because if you've ever been to the Harrisburg Farm Show with the quarter midgets, there is no wall. It's just this dirt berm that they set up to keep you from going over.
I've been to the farm show. I didn't know they raced. I mean, this is back in college. Yeah. I went to the farm show, but like, I did not know there was a racetrack in there. Or do they just take like where they do the rodeo or whatever?
Where they do the rodeo, they make an oval track and they do it in there. So I had my first quarter midget flip in a 160 light quarter midget.
That's like a running trend. Like everyone starts in quarter midgets. I guess that's the starting point, right?
That is, if anyone wants to start racing, that would be my recommendation. Would be the quarter midgets, because it gets you a little bit in tune with setup. Because some knowledge from the quarter midgets, I don't know. You'd have to talk to Amantia, because he made the jump from quarter midgets straight to 600s. But I'm pretty sure the setup from a quarter midget will somewhat help you. At least how the way everything moves will help you set up a 600 a little bit better. But then again, I don't know.
I mean, that's what I hear with slingshots. Like you can go from a 600 to like a 602 crate or something, like a big car. I mean, there's a ton more weight and more power, but like, doing the frame heights and, basics, I guess, around the car to set it up, the slingshot kind of prepares you a little bit more than if you went from like a quarter midget to a big crate car or something like that. I would assume. I don't really know. I know a bunch of people that came from like the junior and all-star slingshots and have been successful in the crates and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, well, all I know is from quarter midgets, we just threw the setup book out the window and restarted, because everything we knew, an exception of hub movements, was pretty much useless.
Yeah,
just because of how the slingshots are set up.
Yeah, they don't really get set up. I mean, the basics still apply, obviously, and making certain changes still apply, but with the swing arm and the way the front axle and everything is in the slingshot, it's definitely different than everything else that you end up racing.
Yeah.
How big of a factor is stagger with these cars? Is it like more emphasis on stagger, or is it a lot of other stuff?
I used to focus on stagger, and then the 25-pound rule went into effect, and now it's just whatever I have, I make up with it with other adjustments. And it seemed to go pretty well over at World Championship.
Yeah, but that rule just makes no sense. I mean, I like the slingshots. Tobias is great, but like that rule is stupid. If someone could explain to me why that rule is a rule, or what the actual point of it is, it just
my thought behind it, or what I'm pretty sure is the actual reason, is also why the 17-inch inset rule is in effect, is he's trying to make the car really loose and trying to make it more about the driver behind the wheel instead of the motor the driver has or certain setup the driver has. He's trying to make it more about the driver and not how the car is set up.
Yeah.
That was my thought. I mean, why he did that.
No, that makes a little bit more sense. You know what I mean? Just make it more driver focused, which is good, because a lot of these tracks the tracks that these cars run on are usually pretty tacky, so it's like they don't get slicked off, right?
I tell you, man, Pagoda, that thing's slicked off.
Pagoda. Oh yeah, you went there. How
I love that place.
How was the World Championship experience that you went? I've heard mixed feelings.
Me personally, my dad thought it was going to be a waste of our time and our effort, but all in all, it was probably the best weekend of the year for all of us. Whole family went up. We brought both cars. The weekend started a little rough. We qualified really well. Qualified 8th out of, I think, 30 cars or something. 28 cars. And we were working our way up the field, got up to 5th, and passing for 4th and 3rd place got together. I ended up getting in a wreck, ripped the left front off the car, and ended up coming in 19th, I think it was, for Friday night. So that was a little rough. Started that, busted my knuckle up a little bit when this connector to the steering wheel came around. I forget what it's called. The little prong on the steering wheel. That came around, knocked my finger, swelled it up pretty good.
Was the track rough or anything, or was it just
first night felt it's to be expected since there were no cars run on it.
Sure.
As the night the weekend went on, the track crew kicked into gear, actually started to smooth out a little. It got better because the track was compact. The cars running on it was packing it down, making it better each night.
Nice.
And Sunday night we were able to lead 38 out of the 40 laps.
Whoa.
That was until my right rear got a little smoked, and I slipped up, letting Hoke by me on 2 to go.
That's the one thing you don't want to do.
Yeah,
Let him win again.
there was so many cautions. I did get like a half a track lead on everybody. According to my dad, I get about a half a track lead, and then the caution would come out, and Hoke would get 2 cars, and he'd be sucked up right against me again. My indicator, my buddy Andrew Turpin, always on my outside. The indicator that everything went downhill is when I looked to my right, and he was not there.
He was not there anymore
On that last restart.
I think
defender.
Dad's at a couple car lengths when they say how far out in front you are.
Yeah,
you were half a track, maybe like four cars, not 6.
Well, at Snydersville, 4 cars is half a track.
That is true.
You gotta cut him some slack.
He might be onto something.
Yeah.
So overall is a good one.
Yeah, I absolutely love the weekend. Just hanging around the people. The Pagoda track staff were absolutely amazing. They were very nice to everybody, always trying to make it better for us, asking us what they could do differently.
That's great, man. I mean, that's what you want from especially someone that or a place that hasn't made an oval track, really. I mean, I guess for the bikes they made a couple of them, but like this is definitely a lot different.
Sadly, they're tearing Pagoda down, and they're relocating it down somewhere else near where it currently is, because the dump bought that property. But
the freaking dump.
Fortunately for us, Pagoda said when they build the new facility, they're building a permanent oval track for us.
Oh,
that's cool.
Sweet. So maybe they'll have a permanent place for Worlds.
Maybe. Like I said, because I'd say if you want to do the thing like Rich did, where you don't want anyone to have home track advantage, I personally think that made World Series so much more enjoyable for me.
Really?
Because it showed me. Because normally, like, we'll go to Linda's and I'll be like, okay, let's see here. We got the SNS cars. I know they're fast. We got Brett Beaver. He's fast. Kyle was fast when he ran a slingshot. Yeah. We got the whole Hoke crew. That's like 4 cars that are all fast. You're showing up and you're like, great, these guys all know what they're doing. I'm fresh out the gate.
Yes, sir.
I'm just hoping for a top 10 now.
Yeah.
First year at Linda's, everything went really well. We were improving each night. Got a 3rd place at the end of the World's Championship. That was Tobias's first fuel test. Went across the scale and died of fuel. Second, I got off the track.
Oh, you ran out of fuel right when you pulled off.
Ran out of fuel.
Perfect.
When I pulled off to go across the scale.
You better hope you're up the weight, man.
Oh, it was amazing. Went across the scale 8:10 on the dot.
Oh, baby. It's like you drew it up that way. Let's go.
Now everybody laughs at me whenever I go to the food stand and say I'm trying to make weight. Nobody understands how much a cheeseburger will help you.
Dude, it'll help. I mean, I don't know, but it sounds like you're doing something right.
I don't know, man. Those cheeseburgers of Snydersville, they've been helping me make weight since I've been running there.
I had one when I was there. It was pretty tasty. I had some sort of tater tots with stuff on it. I don't know. They got a whole mess of stuff. It took me like a million. It felt like I was standing there for an hour waiting, but it was definitely worth it.
And intermission gets a little hectic.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to look at the electric slingshot?
I did.
How does that look from a in-person view? We only got like 2 pictures of it.
I mean,
how many batteries is there? So it's 2 batteries in the back and 2 on the sides.
There are there's batteries in the back, batteries on both the left and the right side, and there's this huge battery underneath the seat.
What?
Yeah.
You're supposed to. What are you supposed to be able to go a whole night with? Like just charge it up before you leave the shop or something? Or
I guess I don't know. There were a lot of batteries in that thing.
I
asked him if I could drive it. He told me it.
What did he say?
He said it wasn't ready yet.
Baloney. If they're gonna do it, they should put a battery at each wheel and have a little motor at each wheel. All-wheel drive. Electric slingshot, baby.
That just sounds. Oh boy.
Some serious.
You get those guys that go bonsai into the corner. Soon it'll actually work. Then they'll go back to the gas slingshot and forget how turning works.
They'd be off the track so quick. Oh,
they'd be driving the slingshot like a Pro 4 if it's 4-wheel drive.
I like the sound of that, man.
Jumping through the infield and everything,
I think that'd be cool. But what did you think of it at first?
Never stood a chance.
So what'd you think of it first glance? I guess is it literally the same thing as everything's it's slingshot parts?
It's all the same exact parts except there's a battery instead of a motor, and quite frankly, it's a very expensive slingshot.
Yeah,
It's
why
not
are they
very
trying to
loud. See-
they were trying to like promote it as like a cheaper alternative to the motor because there's no like fluids, there's no whatever, but like they have that
See-
there's like a little motor to the left of the driver, right? By next to one of the
I didn't even look in depth at it. I just saw the battery cells, and I was like, that's an explosion waiting to happen. So I have absolutely nothing against the thing.
No.
Because he's actually pretty smart by making it, because in New Jersey, if they ever outlaw gas vehicles, he's going to be the only race car you can run in New Jersey.
True.
He has
Maybe
the first electric race car.
I did just see the other day starting next year, and I don't know if slingshots are part of this. I believe they're going to be because I think micros are. I think we have to start running fire suppression systems in the car in New Jersey. I think
Bridgeport.
yeah, we're not.
Speaking of
we don't
fire
have to
suppression
for
systems.
we don't have to for Atlantic City, or Trenton,
Or Trenton.
but
Well,
for
I'm not going
everything
to
else-
Trenton.
For everything else next year, I believe
You have to have
small
fire-
cars have to start putting a fire suppression system in the car.
Speaking of fire suppression system, Tom Dembeck's in the chat. His son Braxton runs at Hamlin, and he's got a nice looking one. I don't know, it's about the size of my forearm. It's pretty big. I forget what he said he paid for it, but it was not cheap. But it's definitely worth it. That if it gets hot enough, it'll just it'll work.
I don't know. I like with the big cars. You just put a 5-pound dry chemical extinguisher next to your foot, and you just pull the pin and squeeze.
I was just watching a video where they're talking about like NASCAR cars back when they were like actually like they just took like the street cars
Yeah.
and they're like there's like there's fire suppression in the car, and it's just like a little tiny like spray paint can basically, and just like duct tape to the frame.
Yep. That's all it is.
And then they had
all you
a
need.
little flap. It's like you pull a little. There's like a string next to the driver. You could pull the flap and it'll open up. So you can see the right front, so they can look for tire wear. Imagine just driving a full size car and you're just like pull a string and you're like looking at the right front. You're like, yeah, looks pretty good still.
That's fine.
It's fine. Oh my God! Tom said it was $620.
$120. Yep. Hey, anyone want to sponsor me? I need. I can't buy 625 times 2 for 2 cars.
We'll put your logo right in front of the 68, as big as we can get it. Perfect. So, with the 68, do you have any special meaning behind the number, or is it kind of just a random generated number, and you're like that looks like it. That looks like it works.
It was adopted again at Blue Mountain. You got assigned a number.
Oh.
And we were looking for 2 numbers we could pick that were next to each other, so we ended up with 67 and 68. There was no general meaning behind it, but the number grew on me, and now I'm really stuck with it.
I mean, I like it. I mean, nobody really runs a 68. You know what I mean? So it's like if you get down the lower numbers, there's like a million number 7s and 5s and whatever. You know, especially in the bigger cars, like, oh my gosh. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, like my dad was the 11. Then he became the 11X. Then he became the 11XX. And then at that point, he just gave up.
Like, there's too many people. Too many numbers.
24s.
Keep on adding a duct taped X to the car until you were good.
That's great. That's what you should. I mean, that's too good.
Luckily for me, the way the slingshots handle it is per state, the first person or the longest person registered with a certain number gets to keep it. So I'm like, I've been grandfathered into the 24 for a very long time for the New Jersey number. I don't know. They might have changed it where now it's just any number, but it used to be, you could have 124 from New Jersey, 1 from PA, 1 from New York, and so on. But
I don't
I
know.
know some other
Six-
people have been told to add numbers to it because I'm the 24. So, and then same deal with the TQ. I'm lucky that nobody had the 24, so I got that.
I didn't realize there was like
Micros, it's ungoverned, so they don't really care.
That's what I didn't realize it was like actually like a governed thing where like everyone has like a specific number type thing. I thought it was just like if you build a slingshot, put whatever number you want on there. Who cares?
No,
No, you have to
slingshots-
register with the bias.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, yearly.
Oh.
Yearly, we have to register by Atlantic City usually to if you're running indoor, and you get like your owner's packet and everything like that. But yeah, you have to register your numbers. So like my two were always 24 and 24H. When I had the two cars, I'm not sure what I'm re-registering as now because the car I have is technically the 24H, but I want to just be the 24 again. So it's number's still mine technically.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
I get first dibs on that number. So
You're lucky for you. I don't know. I'm also lucky in that boat because the only person I'm competing with the 68 for at this point is Dembeck, but he is still in juniors, I think.
yeah.
And I think Braxton's running another year.
He'll be in there in another year for sure. But they can always put a. I mean, you had it first. Let's be real. You had it first.
How many active slingshots are there with the 24 on them? I know there's like what Jax Yawn and Chris.
Yawn, and I don't know. So
That'd be an interesting stat to try to find out.
my extent. Oh yeah, there's one up in New York.
Yeah.
There's a 24 up in New York. I forget her name.
Kristen.
Hey, thanks for
Kristen,
sharing
yeah.
the stream.
Something like that.
Appreciate it.
I know Hartman used to run the 24. I'm trying to think who else did. Hartman had like 4 cars and they were all 24 and they all had to have letters after them.
Is that the guy that runs the 270 at Shellhammers?
No.
Richie Hartman or something?
No, different Hartman.
Well, I don't know. I saw one Hartman there wheeling the hell out of a 270, and I was like, God damn! All right, yeah, you got it, man. You got it. You're good. So, working at Hamlin this year, and you've raced at Hamlin for many years, at least from what I can remember. How many wins do you actually have at Hamlin? And when was your first win?
My mic just gave out again. All right, out of my total of 45 or so wins, I only have 4 Hamlin wins.
When was your first one? Because I know people
My
race
first
for a
one-
couple years and years to try to I remember Brian Smith just got his first win
Hamlin, yeah.
the last year, and he's been wicked fast. That he just I mean, obviously in prior years we had Scott Neary who was untouchable, and Jared Silphy and
McLaughlin was untouchable
McLaughlin was
for a while.
unbelievably good. You know what I mean? It was just all these super talented.
Freed this year.
Yeah, he was very consistent. I mean, he got two wins in a row. It was that's super unheard of. Because even Braden Traver in the juniors got his first. This is his rookie season, and he got 2 wins in a row at Hamlin. So getting the whole I can't think of the word, but the whole thing of getting a win at Hamlin seems like a really big deal, and I hope it's still a really big deal.
Oh, it is.
Because it's hard as hell to win there. Even with the low car count we had, it was I mean, gosh, watching it over the last 5 years or whatever, it's just it's tough. Once you figure it out though, and you can start competing for wins, then it's like you're playing an MMO game, and you level up to the max level, and then you start actually playing the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep. My first win at Hamlin was in my final junior slingshot season on opening night. Pretty sure I started either second or third. I know I didn't start pole, but I got the pole off the start within the first half a lap. And I was able, thankfully with no cautions, I was able to stretch out a pretty big lead over Casey Huffcutt. And
wow,
I ended up getting my first ever slingshot win at Hamlin in the junior slingshots. My plan was to run a junior race, see how well I did, because I was 800 pounds in a junior. So we were gonna move me up.
Yeah.
But then I won, and I was like, well, maybe I have a shot. We ended up getting 5th in points and moving up into All-Star the next year. All-Star My first All-Star year roughed me up a lot.
I think it roughs everybody up, right?
But the final race of that season, I'm pretty sure, my first All-Star season, ended up getting my first All-Star win at Hamlin against, I think, a 20 or 22 car field.
Dang.
And
I mean, beating Casey Huffcutt is probably a tall task. I mean, the one year he won like almost every race.
Yeah, that was that year.
Oh, here it is, 2018. You won. Brian was in there, and Aiden and Adam Bouchel, like all these bigger names like Jasper Zigafus, Joey Califoot was there. Shelby was in that. Oh, I think. She got a DNF.
Yeah. Shelby,
there's a lot of good people.
Shelby's motor blew up that night.
You're like, I got to take advantage of this.
Yeah, probably why I won. Her motor exploded, and Casey was still not consistent enough in the slingshot to catch up.
Maybe it was the following year that he dominated, because I remember.
Well, that year was, he had his rookie year, and then he had his domination year.
Mm-hmm.
The domination year, he was consistent when he was out front, but when he was catching somebody, my theory was he would get flustered and he would miss his marks by a little bit, and it would just in turn slow him down.
Well, it's a good learning experience then for sure, which is what the class is for.
He didn't do that the next year. Yeah, it's a learning experience. It's All-Star 2019. I ended up getting my first win at Hamlin. I flipped at Snydersville in the slingshot.
Oh, what?
2019.
Oh my gosh, you're a nut. You're a nut. How do you like? Did you go over through the plywood wall?
No. All right. So what happened was really funny story. I can guarantee you I'm about to get a text on my phone from my boss, Mason Pittenger. Me and him were front row, starting front row in the heat race. And what happened was we came out of the corner and we both washed up a little, and I started getting a little close to the fence. And so I started backing out, and eventually I decided, maybe I can get a run. So I started coming back up, and he didn't realize I was there. So when he went to set in for the corner, he set the car, and I went up the wall, hit the bump at the flag stand, and just kept on rolling into the turn. Ended up landing on my wheels. Got up out of the car. EMTs yelled at me because you're not allowed to lay underneath the car checking what's wrong.
You got out and you're like, what did I break?
I got out, jumped out of the car, immediately slammed myself on the ground, looked under the car because the chain was off. And I was like, all right, something's got to be bent. The chain's off. Nothing was bent. The chain just snapped off.
Yeah, you kind of flipped.
Yeah. I mean, Lydia barrel rolled it down at Hamlin, got second in the heat race.
Yeah, she rolled it right. I mean, she like endoed it, and she
what happened was
still good.
That's because nothing but bumper hit that.
True.
Axle never hit the ground. It was the bumper saved.
That was
a good race with Lydia. That was a good one.
That was a good one. She kind of kicked some butt this year. Winning the opening night and the last night and stuff, like, and she won a ton at Snydersville too. Is this like her rookie season? I never heard of her until now.
It's her rookie season in All-Star. Yeah, she ran junior slingshot last year. She bought the car that flipped me actually. She bought that car from Mason Pittenger when he decided he was gonna try and start up a business, and.
Gotcha.
He was also going to try and look into a go-kart team for a little bit. Ran the go-kart team for half a season, and I was like, yeah, I miss slingshots. Sold the go-karts and went back to slingshots.
Hey,
but
you got to do what you love, man. You can't just do it just to do it.
We helped out. My dad helped out Navarro a lot, just trying to teach him the basics of setup. We were trying to get her to be the dominating car in juniors, since we were no longer dominating the junior class. With Charlene moving up to All-Stars that year. And Charlene had a really good start to her All-Star year, won a few races, and then eventually she hit a tire, leading by half a track.
I probably filmed that, I'm sure.
That broke her that broke her self-esteem, I think, for the rest of the season. She was still competitive, but she didn't have the aggressiveness that she used to have.
Oh
this
man,
year.
now she's gonna be yelling at you
for next year. Next year it came back with full force,
Good.
and she's been pretty good ever since. So I haven't had any issues. It
Yeah,
was very
you gotta-
exciting at Pagoda with no traffic lights. She was in front of me, and she was halfway around the corner, saw the flagger with the yellow flag. I never saw the yellow flag, so I never lifted. She hit the brakes immediately. We both ended up piling up.
Oh no.
Got our spots back because the caution was already out. But that was
Well,
that was
that's
a
good at
little bit of
least.
an exciting
Yeah.
race.
So like, what does it feel like to win at Hamlin? At least for how it felt the first time that you won there, since it's kind of a track that everyone. It's really tough to race there. The two different corners. It's hard to win. I mean, some people race for years to get that first win, just like Brian Smith. So like, what is it? How did it feel to win there for the first time? Because it's my favorite track. I love watching it. I love seeing people get their first win. Like Brady and Traver got his first win this year, and I think Braxton Dimmick got one last year. Last year, I think, is his first win. Either way, like just seeing people,
First one.
yeah, seeing people get their first wins is like super exciting. And I like leave my camera up on the tower, and I run down and congratulate like the dads and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No. For my first win, especially as a junior, I was speechless. I actually came out of the car crying. I was so happy. I didn't know. I didn't know exactly how to feel. It was just. It was insane. I had always, like, the year before, again, my rookie slingshot year wasn't the greatest for me. Every race that I finished, I got a top 5. The rest of them, I ended up having an assisted mechanical failure or other types of issues that caused me to not be able to finish. I had that one car that just never gave me a break. Unfortunately, I always started next to him. And the mic just gave out. All right. Unfortunately, I didn't make
His
very many
mic.
laps. Yeah. It's like every time the mic cuts out, I have to like lean over my computer.
Just make sure
Try and
it's cleared.
resync it. Yeah.
So any
But-
plans to like maybe go up to stage ones or anything? Or are you kind of content with the slingshots when you're able to run them?
My thing with the stage ones is, I ran the rental car once because Richie Smith asked me to. I think they're definitely a lot of fun. Personally, our wallet as a team is not big enough to support one, let alone 2 stage 1 modified. So
Oh yeah,
There's
you're
thing-
doing 2 cars.
yeah, we're staying with the slingshots, and we have Enduro cars that we're running at Grandview for the Outlaw Enduro
What?
series.
What is an outlaw Enduro or whatever it is? I never heard of it.
So Outlaw Enduro is a series that runs stock Enduro, small car and big car Enduro, vintage modifieds, and vintage sportsmans. So they run the old timer modifieds and late models, as well as the Excel 600s. They're offering a few slots to slingshots this year at Grandview for the Outlaw Enduro series. So I might get the 68 loaded up in the back of my truck, and my dad will tow the big cars up there. I'll bring the little car and
like
question
what is
my-
an enduro?
question
Though?
my
Like what
existence.
kind of car is it? That's what I mean.
any street car.
Anything?
I have a 2003 Chevy Impala with
Ooh.
ungodly amount of transmission issues. My sister has a 2001 Monte Carlo, and she ran that at the end of this year. I ended up, when we ran the last race of the season last year. That's when I found out my transmission was about to explode. We took it apart. I welded the input clutches together, so it was just stuck in 4th gear. That's why it kind of sucked.
Just hammered
And
down.
then,
Dude.
well, that was what I did this year. Ended up I pulled dead last, or second to last. I was like 28th out of 30, or like 20th, 29th out of 30 cars or something. Ended up getting 9th in a 50 lap shootout. The car was running. It was probably a top 3 car, and then I got hit in the left rear, and it tweaked the left rear all up, so I had some immense rear steer. So going down the straightaway was not happy. And then I eventually ended up hitting someone else, and he straightened it back out for me. So again, we picked up speed at the end of the race. But yeah, I really enjoy the big cars. We don't know what we're doing this season. We're debating if we want to focus on slingshots or if we want to focus on the big cars and fill in slingshot racing on the weeks we're not running the big car. Indoors is a priority so far.
Yeah, I was just actually about to ask you about that. So how many when was the first season that you guys ran indoor?
Last year was my first indoor run at Allentown.
Whoa.
You got to experience the 3 wide with me.
Yes, I do remember that. I think that was me, you, and Olsh.
Olsh, yeah.
I was not having a good time.
You were not having a good time.
That whole race felt like it lasted like 3.5 minutes, and it was just bumper cars the whole time. And I just got out of the car, and I was like, "What just happened?"
Honestly, I did that race. It was bumper cars, but I got to tell you, that was my favorite match of bumper cars I'd ever had in my life. My arms were absolutely melted at the end of it, but all in all, it was worth it. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, so were you nervous leading up to running the indoor stuff?
I was a little nervous. My big concern was ending up in the wall upside down because the only time I'd ever watched the PP&L Center, I forget who it was, but I watched a guy go roof first into the guardrail or the jersey barrier on the outside.
Slingshot or TQ?
Then, slingshot. They were flipping down the front stretch. I don't know why.
That would be
They were
terrible.
struggling.
I'm trying to think who it was.
Was
it?
I don't. It was.
I'm gonna. I don't
It
know.
might have been.
I don't know. I
It
thought
was.
it happened right in front of me. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember who it was though.
And like,
Yeah.
does your head touch the roof? Like when I sit in a slingshot, my head like literally is pushed up against the roof of that car.
Pretty much. I mean, we ended up cutting my seat and refitting it in the bracket in the bottom of the car. So oh wow, my seat is just jerry-rigged and slammed into the car. So that way I'm pretty much in a recliner when I sit in the car.
Really?
Like I'm so laid back to the point where like when I go in my car, like my actual street car, and I set up I set it up like a recliner because that's just how I'm used to driving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like my knees are up in the dash. That's how much of an incline it's on.
My car.
And it's how I have to fit in the car. I don't fit any other way. I guess those cheeseburgers don't help with that, but I feel like they help me stick to the track, so I'm gonna keep on eating them.
I'm trying to go.
I totally support your your weight endeavor.
Yeah, really. I'm a quarter of the car's weight, and I still need to make more.
Let's go. As long as you're enjoying racing, enjoying like whatever else you're doing, just be happy, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a joke at this point. Everyone will look at me and they're like, "You're getting more food," and I'll just look at them like, "Gotta make weight somehow, man." I mean, that's always been a joke. I mean, at this point, I'm like 840 pounds rolling across the scale with no weight in the car.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any lighter, so I just kind of maintain where I'm at, and I mean, it doesn't seem to be hurting me any. So I'm gonna just every single person that's ever tried to pass me says, "Why do you not move?"
Yeah,
You gotta move me, mother trucker.
Yeah, you just drive into the back of me all you want. I'm not going nowhere.
I'm not going nowhere. Where are you going?
I got a brake pedal, and if you start pushing me, I'm not afraid to use it. You could ask Aiden Donaldson. My second All-Star win of the 2020 season, I think. Yeah, Aiden Donaldson. He started front row, and he got into a little altercation with the first place car because he was second. I got underneath them both, and he just ended up pushing me the entire 20 laps. He couldn't get around me.
What year was that?
I think it was 2020.
I'm gonna look, but yeah,
I don't know. It was like the second to last race or the last race of the season at Hamlin.
Dang. I have to look for that because I want to see
I remember
that.
he was pushing me the entire
The
race,
entire
and every
time?
time he'd try to move me, I'd tap the brake a little bit, and we'd both get really loose. And it just got to the point where he stopped trying because he was gonna wreck us both. And me and him just like
No.
came to a mutual agreement of, yeah, we're done. Let's just finish where we're at. 'Cause, I mean,
We're in
that
a
was
mutual agreement that you're
gets out
not
of the
winning this
car, he looks me
race.
dead at, he looks at me and he looks me dead in the eyes and he's like, if I didn't get in that altercation in the first corner, I would have never pushed you that entire race. And I was like, yep, I know, I knew you had it. I had to. I wasn't blocking or nothing. I had the same line he was running, so he couldn't do anything.
That's too
But
funny.
me and him have had a few good runs.
Yeah.
So you didn't run Atlantic City last year, did you?
No, I did. I
you
got
did.
eighth. Yeah, your dirt tire endeavor on the right rear failed on like lap 5 or something.
Yeah, it took a bounce.
I
and
remember that one.
shredded. I've never seen a tire come apart like that before in my life. Somebody hit
Oh,
me. I
I-
took a bounce and it shredded.
I got one from Caroga Creek. I
Love
had
that
the
place.
car so hooked up, the right rear hub slid in, and it shredded the entire right rear on the shock bolt.
Jeez.
So the entire sidewall on the inner side of the right rear, for 3/4 of the tire, is just gone. It's just a hole.
It's
And the
like
25 pounds made that really exciting. That was another one. Caroga
That's really
Creek, we go
exciting.
there. The dual heats started second in the first round of heats and fourth in the second round of heats. I led every single lap of both heat races. 32 out of 35 laps in the feature. Coming across 2 to go. Buddy Andrew Durpin comes on by, and I'm like, man, this thing's starting to go away. It wouldn't turn. The car got really tight for some reason throughout the race. 1 to go comes by. I enter turn 1. There's this loud kaboom. The back of the car comes up in the air, and I land.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh, that's
No.
exciting. Those 25
exciting.
pounds did not want to stay in that tire anymore.
Indeed, they did not.
Yep, 25 pounds of PSI shoots the right rear of the car way off the ground when it explodes.
I'm sure it does.
But I need to go back there and get some redemption, man.
Yeah,
hopefully
me
they have it
too,
there,
man.
I
That
love
track, I was so fast when we were up there, and like
Yeah.
lap 2 of the feature leading just melted a keyway into the axle for the gear and just
Oh, yeah.
destroyed
Yep,
everything.
No.
the right rear. The right rear when it slid in. It melted the hub like to the axle. So we're trying to get this thing out because we had to run Glen Ridge the next night. So we're bashing this thing with a sledgehammer trying to get it to come off. And it melted. The hub melted. It got so hot it melted to the axle, and then when it got cold, it solidified and stuck to the axle.
Yeah, so with the aluminum flywheel, the car would make so much torque that
Yeah.
the keyways would shred. So you have a steel axle, a steel keyway, but then an aluminum gear
Aluminum
driver,
yeah.
or gear hub, and an aluminum brake hub. Every single indoor race I ran with the aluminum flywheel, I had to take that, throw it out, put a brand new one because I shredded them
Really?
so bad. Oh, absolutely.
I have not
I
had any issues. Although we put a dummy keyway in ours
okay.
with hose clamps, so we use both keyways in the hub to try and keep it locked to the axle.
Yeah.
It seems to help with the torque of the aluminum flywheel because like I'm fat and I
Yeah.
need it no matter what.
So up at Caroga, what happened was I got on the throttle too hard and it spun. It shredded both keyways out of the aluminum gear hub. It spun it so hard on the axle and it ripped the keyway itself in half. And it got so hot that it welded half of it into the axle, the slot, and just mangled the other side. So we couldn't even get another piece of keyway in. Because it was the weirdest thing. So Caroga,
What?
I don't know if they've changed it. I hope so. They used to hand score everything.
What
So
the-
when I was
Okay.
up there, it was
They
being
don't-
hand scored.
Yeah,
And
they still did that.
yeah, it's crazy. So I broke and lost power. So they ended up throwing the red so that they could line everybody back up while they pushed me off the track. I got out of the car, figured out what was wrong, and yelled to my dad to go get a new keyway because we were still under red. So my dad comes over, and I hand the keyway to Tobias with a hammer, and Tobias is trying to fix the car to get me back out there, and I get back in the car, and they go green, and I'm like, damn, it's over. And then there's a huge wreck, and they're all not lined up again. And because they're like hand scoring everything, they can't figure it out. So
God,
the red comes back out. The red comes back out, and I just hear Tobias back there hammering on the damn axle, trying to get this keyway to bite into anything so that I can just baby the car around out there and try and make it back out.
No.
And the same thing happens again. They go green and wreck in the first corner and have to go red again to line everybody back up. But
No
ultimately, I ended
way.
up just getting out of the car. We couldn't get it back together. Tobias is hammering. And he's every backswing, he's hitting the hammer against the starter. So there's sparks shooting all over the place.
Oh
and
yeah. Yep.
eventually, he just goes, Kyle, I can't get it. Just get out, man. I'm like, damn,
Oh my
dude.
gosh.
I had enough
Yeah.
time. I had the other car in the trailer. I had enough time that I could have gone, changed gears, rolled that car out, and gone out in a backup car after
Yeah.
lap 1, man.
That would
Oh,
have
I
now
was
that
so
would have been
mad.
so
Dude,
sick.
They don't have enough. They don't have enough funding at Kroger Creek to get a transponder system, so they hand score. And let me say, they're pretty damn talented. When we went
do a
there,
solid job.
they did not have to throw any reds. We had,
You
like, a
pay
10-car
attention when you get
pileup.
into it.
Yeah, they had a 10-car pileup when I was there. Did not even throw a red. Just kept us under caution. Had us lined back up in 3 laps.
Jeez, no way. That's some dedication. That's some hard work, man. Hand scoring everything. That's tough.
That was my personal favorite track at all the ones we went to in New York. I mean, you would have thought Utica because it's the closest to Nidersville, but I personally love Kroger Creek. It is something in the track prep that they do. That track looks like the Sahara Desert. You will go there and you'll be like, "There's no way in hell this is gonna work." And he goes out there with a semi truck. He's got a semi with a farming fertilizer crate on the back
Really?
with a piece of PVC with drilled holes in it. And he flips a lever, gets in the truck, drives around with the rotation with this truck with a fertilizer tanker on it until it's empty. And he pulls the truck off, and he grabs a thing of 3 truck tires that are screwed together with a rope. He attaches the rope to the back of the truck. He goes out there and he drags it around the track. And he rinses and repeats this, like, for about 2 hours. 2 to 3 hours. And that track goes from looking like a desert to a perfect racing surface.
Wow.
That is accurate.
It
That
was
is
the
very
best
accurate.
racing surface I think I've ever been on. He doesn't disc it up, so it's nice. It's packed in and it's hard.
It's just
And
like the track
somehow,
is super flat, and it just
Yeah.
stays tacked up all night to the point where
does.
you can race super hard.
oh yeah, like I said, my car was so stuck to the track. Before I lost my lead, I was about, I'd say, like 6 car lengths ahead of Andrew Turpin, who was 3 car lengths ahead of the rest of the field. I was lapping cars, and as I had to throw it in harder to lap these cars, that's when the right rear started really jerking in, because I had to throw the car to get underneath people, and that was the end of it.
Jeez.
If I never hit lap trap, save it. At least till the end of the race. I would have
Mhm.
failed the 17 inset rule, but
Oh,
I would have
well.
finished the race.
But we're winding down here a little bit. But I found the race that you were talking about with with Aiden. Do you have the stream up at all to watch this?
Give me 2 seconds.
I'll put it up.
Okay, I found the race. I was on my race pass, and I found I found the race. It was actually 2021.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who. So it's
Because
a
I
car.
forgot
It's a
what year it was.
non-lettered car that started on the pole, and I don't remember who it was. I'd have to actually look. 'Cause I don't remember. I didn't even look at the name, honestly. I'm curious now, but
My stream. Oh, there we go. It loaded.
it loaded. Okay, good.
Too.
Yep. Okay.
All right,
Let's
so
watch this.
so here's
this lovely, lovely
here's the
start.
start of it. I don't have any sound on or nothing. But yeah, there's Aiden. I don't know who that other car is.
I think that's Hendrix.
Aiden just got blasted. Oh, and then
I don't know.
Oh no! Ah! Oh, that was shots. I was getting bullied around there a little bit. That John Shantz guy.
Yep. And then I got her around.
You got around both of them, and then Aiden quickly.
Got around both of them.
Oh my god.
The bee's nest happened, and then this was the rest of the race. It was just us three pushing each other.
I think-
Eventually Aiden got around Kylie, and then it was just him pushing me the entire.
Oh, was that
race.
Kylie after her wreck? That was her new body after she flipped.
Yeah, I think that was the body after she flipped. Yeah.
Because I remember she didn't get it lettered for like ever. Everybody's
I think
running
they-
into each
I'm
other.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
'Cause I think they sold that car, and it still didn't have any lettering on it.
Yeah.
It just had numbers. Oh, there's the caution.
I'm gonna skip
this
ahead
is,
a little
this is when he
bit.
got. Yeah.
Let's see. We skipped
is-
halfway. He's right on you, man, and whoever's behind him is right on him as well. I can't tell who it is.
Shelby.
Oh, it's Shelby.
Shelby.
It's Shelby. So she's probably like,
And it was just. She was pushing him, he was pushing me, and I was just like, "You're not getting by me."
look at how smooth. Look
And
at
that
how
was the
smooth.
entire-
You're like, you're doing your line. He can't even diamond you, which is
Yeah,
great.
since I was,
And then well,
was running
Shelby's
the exact same line the whole race.
yep, and then Shelby's battling Aiden a bunch. Look, it's just
that
it's
was the
literally
only thing that saved me.
the same
that
laps
was the only thing that
over
saved
and
me, yeah.
over. Look, that's
Yep.
when Russell's still doing the flagging.
Yep.
And we're just
And that was the only thing
Two-
that saved me. Was those
two
two
to
were
go.
battling, so
These-
they couldn't focus on getting me.
still like your lap was so consistent, and your like the drive off was pretty good. He couldn't get enough
Yeah.
momentum to build up to get around you.
It's that aluminum flywheel, man.
It's that aluminum flywheel.
See, that was, yeah. It's just, tell you, you got
Here
you
comes
slow up
the
a
checkered
lot
flag.
going into the corner.
James Benz the winner.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty much.
Nice. Awesome, man. Well, hey, I mean, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us, and it was a lot of fun, man. We had that was some really fun stories, and the
Yeah.
hour went by way too quick, man. We're actually like
It did.
past
It did.
the hour at this
Over.
point.
Yeah, we're over.
But yeah, if
But,
you want to do
um,
any shout outs to anywhere that anyone can find you on social media or Facebook or whatever, I know you have a racing page and stuff.
Yeah, we have the Team Taz Motorsports page on Facebook. You can follow both me and my sister. Me and my dad update it. All in all, we do the slingshot racing, the enduro racing, and my junk car racing and demolition derbies are also posted on that when we go to the West End Fair.
Nice. And remember, it's Team Taz. If you type in Taz
Yes.
Motorsports, you'll find some random late model guy. That's not
It is Team Taz Motorsports.
Team Taz. Awesome, man. Well,
Yep.
appreciate you coming along and
Yeah.
talking to us about racing and just like hanging out, man. This is great. This is exactly what
Oh, yeah.
I wanted the show to be, is just talking with drivers, man, from
Hanging out.
small
Yeah.
small cars to big cars. Because last week we had Billy Pouch Jr. on the show, and that was super fun too. It's like, you know, we come from the tippity top of modified racing all the way down to slingshots, and it's like the same energy, you know. It's great. So yeah, man, I really appreciate it.
I'm really happy I could come out. One last word I have to say.
Go ahead.
The indoor.
Oh, you broke up again.
Me
No.
and Kyle. Oh,
Wait.
no.
Say it again. Say it again.
All right. Me and Kyle will both be at the Indoor Auto Racing Series race at Allentown and probably Atlantic City. I'll be there. I don't know if Kyle
Yep.
will be.
I will.
You can see us both. I will not, because slingshots got thrown out of Trenton for some reason.
I
Don't know why. Probably
That-
because we suck.
Dude, that was a great race. What do you mean? That was
Oh no, it was an absolutely great race, but apparently we rip up the track or something. That's what I heard. So
It was.
you
rough.
got golf cart
I-
motors against
I
a
cannot.
600?
I
golf
cannot.
cart
lie.
tires.
That track was so rough. It was painful to drive that car. I
Was it
will-
worse than Linda's?
It was worse than probably anything I've ever been. I spent more time off the ground than on the ground. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
you can
lie.
see that
I
in the
broke
video, yeah.
I broke so much stuff. I'm
Oh
sure
my
I have an
gosh.
onboard of that we can go back and watch and just cry together.
All right, boys, we got to wrap
Yeah.
it up here. Really appreciate you coming
Bye.
on, James. Remember,
Yep.
Team Taz on Facebook to follow his racing, and yeah, we'll see everybody in the 2023 season, especially for the indoor boys here, and then at Hanlon for sure. I mean, I don't know if you're running Hanlon, but I'm sure we'll see you there one way or the other.
I'll probably be designated grid guy again, unless
You're just too
something
good. See,
changes.
that's why you got to
You
stop
do
being
it.
so good at
You
things.
do a good job.
I know, right?
All right, man.
Thank
We'll take
you.
it easy. See you guys. Thanks for everybody watching. We'll be back next week. What's next week? December 18th? With
18th, yes.
with the Junior Slingshot World Champion Dylan Hahn. So he'll be on next week. So that'll be super cool because he won a bunch
that's
of
gonna
stuff.
be a good one.
I mentioned
That's
that he
gonna
won
be
a
a good
bunch
one.
of stuff this year, and then I had like Aiden and Danny telling me how better their seasons were. So that's super funny. But yeah,